Okay, we're back for quiz 78, and just to give out some of the scores from last week. There wasn't as many scores came in last week because it probably a bit harder last week because we put a thing about poetry and all in it. So here we go. We had Andre, we had 20, Josie and Bill, we had 20, Jerry Smith, we had 20, Davey and Jean got a 22, but the winning score was 25 last time with and it was Billy Gray. So well done, Billy. Here we go. We're going to go start off with a round one. We're doing 6 rounds this week because it's Easter. Give us an extra round for Easter. Who is currently the Duke of Lancaster? A couple of tough ones in this. What was Mexico called before gaining its independence? Number 3. Before they were renamed with the Cadbury's brand in 1971, under which name had cream eggs been previously called? Cream eggs before 1971, what were they called? Number 4. What's the most popular way to eat eggs in the UK? Is it poached, scrambled, fried or boiled? Number 5. This is the Easter bit because there's a lot of egg questions in this one. Number 5. The New York Easter Parade takes place on which famous street? Number 6. Easter Island is part of which country? Number 7. Which 1987 film inspired the term bunny boiler? And number 8. How is the equivalent of Shrove Tuesday known in France? I think I'm going a bit quick, trying to get it in quickly, but just you can pause it. No, if I think I'm going quick in between questions. So here's the answers. So get back now and pause it if you want to hear these. Number 1. Who is currently the Duke of Lancaster? It's King Charles. What was Mexico called before gaining its independence? New Spain. And before they were renamed with the Cadbury brand in 1971, cream eggs were called Fry's cream eggs. And number 4, what's the most popular way to eat eggs in the UK? Poached, scrambled, fried or boiled? It's boiled. And the New York Easter Parade takes place on which famous street? 5th Avenue. And Easter Island is part of Chile. And which 1987 film inspired the term bunny boiler? It's Fatal Attraction. And how is the equivalent of Shrove Tuesday known in France? It's Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday. So get them scores down. And here we go for round 2. Now you might need to write some of these down. I hope you're writing some of these down because sometimes you need to be looking at the end. Who was the lead singer of Mott the Hoople? Number 2. What's the longest river in South America? And number 3. What was the name of the street racing car in the film Grease? Number 4. What was the name of the 1983 TV series about the Russian-born adventurer Sidney Riley, who became one of the greatest spies to ever work for the UK? And number 5. What term is used for the reshaping of your nose by plastic surgery or surgery? What's the name for it? Number 6. What was Barry McGuigan's nickname when he was boxing? And number 7. Which TV series that starred in the 70s had characters called Ray Krebs, Jenna Wade and April Stevens? And number 8, what's the connection between them? Okay, get them answers down. If you want to pause it, do so now, because I'm going to give you the answers for round 2. Who was the lead singer of Mott the Hoople? Ian Hunter. What's the longest river in South America? The Amazon. And what was the name of the street racing car in the film Grease? It's Grease Lightning. And what was the name of the 1983 TV series about the Russian-born adventurer Sidney Riley, who became one of the greatest spies to ever work for the UK? It was called Riley, Ace of Spies. Number 5, what term is used for the reshaping of your nose by surgery or plastic surgery? It's rhinoplasty. And what was Barry McGuigan's nickname when he boxed? It was Le Clone's Cyclone. And number 7, which TV series that starred in the 70s had characters called Ray Krebs, Jenna Wade and April Stevens? It was Dallas. And number 8, what was the connection? Well, you had Hunter, Amazon, Lightning, Ace, Rhino, Cyclone and Dallas. The last 2 were American, but they were gladiators from the TV series Gladiators. We're going to move on to round 3. In northern China, what is the most common and popular use for birds' nests? Number 2, what name is given to the triangular shaped Indian pastry containing meat or vegetables? Number 3, what do Calcutta, Melbourne, Istanbul and Rio de Janeiro have in common? Number 4, in which decade did Aretha Franklin have her first UK #1 hit? Here's one some people might get, but it's a tough one. Barbara Harmer became the first woman and the only ever English woman to do what in March 1993, and will never be done by a woman again ever? Number 6, what is the opposite of transparent? And number 7, which of Shakespeare's plays has a 5-word title that is also a well-known proverb? And number 8, in which English city would you find the largest diameter clock face? So that's the end of round 3. So get them answers down, and I'm going to give you the answers. So if you're still want to go back on some of them, rewind it on your TV or your app, whatever you're watching this on. In northern China, what is the most common and popular use for birds' nests? It's for birds to lay eggs in. To lay eggs in is the answer. Hope you didn't fall for the little bird's nest soup one. Right, number 2. What name is given to the triangular shaped Indian pastry containing meat and vegetables? Samosas. And what do California, Melbourne, Istanbul and Rio de Janeiro have in common? They're not capital cities, they are all former capital cities. In which decade did Aretha Franklin have her first UK #1 hit? It was the 80s, 1987, and it was a duet with George Michael. I Knew You Were Waiting For Me. Number 5, Barbara Harmer became the first woman and the only ever English woman to do what in March 93 and will never be done by a woman again ever? She flew Concorde. She was a pilot for Concorde. Where are we? What is the opposite of transparent? Opaque. Which of Shakespeare plays has a 5-word title that is also a well-known proverb? It's all's well that ends well. And number 8, in which British city would you find the largest diameter clock face? It's Liverpool. Big Ben 6.9 metres diameter and the Lever building 7.6 diameter. Write your scores down there. We'll move on to round 4. Number 1. Pat, Geordie, Davy and Andy. What's them names got in common? Pat, Geordie, Davy and Andy. What have they got in common? Number 2. What do athletes get for finishing between 4th and 8th in Olympic events? And number 3. Why were drummers used at public executions? Number 4. Who was the first goalkeeper to score a goal in the Premier League? Number 5. What type of rough clothing fabric shares its name with a British river? Number 6. Who was the last UK Prime Minister to have a surname with 2 consecutive letters the same in it? Like William Pitt, P-I-T-T, 2 consecutive letters in their surname. Number 7. Who was the first German-born male tennis player to win Wimbledon men's singles title? And the last number in round 4 is, what name is given to the decorative signature of a graffiti artist? That's your lot for round 4. So if you want to go back in some of them, I'm going to give you the answers. So don't be cheating. Here we go. Number 1. Pat, Geordie, Davy and Andy. What have them names got in common? Well, they're shortened versions of Patrick, George, David and Andrew, which would be the names of the UK patron saints. What do athletes get for finishing between 4th and 8th in Olympic events? They get an Olympic diploma. And number 3, why were drummers used at all public executions? To drown out the screams. Number 4, who was the first goalkeeper to score a goal in the Premier League? It was Peter Schmeichel. And what type of rough clothing fabric shares its name with a British river? It's the tweed. And who was the last UK Prime Minister to have a surname with 2 consecutive letters the same in the surname? It is James Callaghan. James Callaghan with 2 L's. And who was the first German-born male tennis player to win Wimbledon men's singles title? It wasn't Boris Becker or Michael Stich. It was, what do you call him? John McEnroe. Yes, John McEnroe was born in Wiesbaden in Germany. Wiesbaden, is that how you pronounce it? W-E-I-S-B-A-D-D-A-N, Wiesbaden. And what name is given to the decorative signature of a graffiti artist? It's a tag. Tag, T-A-G. I guess we won. Right, pencils out. Number 1. I know some people mightn't have seen this film, but you could guess the answer now. Where does Kevin accidentally end up after boarding the wrong train in Home Alone 2? Number 2. What was the name of Steve Harley's backing group? Number 3. Legend says the body of Alexander the Great was preserved in which liquid? Number 4. What are the names of Donald Duck's 3 nephews? Okay, Marjorie Proops, there's her name. Marjorie Proops, that's come back about 30 years or so. Marjorie Proops wrote her column, Dear Margie, for which newspaper? In the film The Fugitive, what is the occupation of Richard Kimball? That was a main character in it. Number 7. Who does the herring and the faring in the TV show The Apprentice? And number 8. What connects all the answers? What connects all the answers? So you might need to write them down. Okay, so you need to write the answers down that you've got and then see what you can connect up with them. You might have to think a wee bit outside the box, but this is a good one. I came across this during the weekend. I thought that's a good one. I added a few to myself, a few ones to myself for it. So, right, here we go with the answers. Where does Kevin accidentally end up after boarding the wrong train in Home Alone 2? He ended up in New York. Sure, did he meet Donald Trump going through the hotel or something? What was the name of Steve Harley's backing group? Cockney Rebel. Number 3. Legend says the body of Alexander the Great was preserved by what liquid? And what liquid? Honey. And what are the names of Donald Duck's 3 nephews? Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Marjorie Proops wrote her column, Dear Margie, for which newspaper? The Daily Mirror. In the name of a fugitive, what is the occupation of Richard Kimball? Doctor. And who does the herring and faring in the TV show The Apprentice? Alan Sugar. And what connects all the answers? Okay, so if you repeat the word, a certain word in the question, you're going to end up with the answer. So if you've repeated one of the words, you're going to end up with the answer. So I'll tell you what it was. New York, so you repeat that, New York, New York. Cockney Rebel, Rebel, Rebel. It was preserved in honey, honey, honey. Huey, Dewey, and Louie, Louie, Louie. Marjorie Proops was a Daily Mirror, Mirror, Mirror. And Dr. Richard Kimball was a doctor, doctor, doctor. And The Apprentice was herring and faring was Alan Sugar, Sugar, Sugar. So the connection was repeating the word in the answers to get a top 20 hit. That was a tough one, but I hope you guys like that. I'm sure you just, some of you as well, some of you won't. Right, so we're going to move on to the last one. Because it's Easter, we give you an extra one to do on the holiday. So we've got 6 rounds a day. Which heavyweight boxing champion was nicknamed the Manasseh Mauler? Number 2. What is petrology? Petrology. Number 3. What is the most populated city in Louisiana, the state of Louisiana? Number 4. Mount Cook is the highest peak in which country? Number 5. Which Roman goddess is also a brand of margarine? Number 6. Becky Sharp is the name of a character in which novel and also the name of a magazine? Wasn't there Becky Sharp? I think it was an art. Wasn't there Becky Sharp? And maybe I'm thinking the wrong name. Wasn't there Becky Sharp and Tom Sawyer? That was Tom Sawyer's girlfriend, wasn't it? Or maybe it was some Becky, somebody else. Maybe it was Thatcher. Maybe it was Thatcher. Becky. But it's Becky Sharp we're looking for. Number 7. Which famous magician is also the name of a Charles Dickens novel? And number 8. In 2002, the BBC did a poll of the greatest Britons of all time, and 2 women appeared in the top 10. You get a point if you can name one of them. Okay, in 2002, the BBC did a poll of the greatest Britons of all time, and there was 2 women in the top 20 or the top 10. Name any one for a point. Right, put them down. That's your last one. So the answers is coming out. Here we go. Which heavyweight boxing champion was nicknamed the Manasseh Mauler? It was Jack Dempsey, which is the name of my mate's brother, Jack Dempsey. What's petrology? The study of rocks. And what's the most populated city in Louisiana? New Orleans. And Mount Cook is the highest peak in which country? New Zealand. And which Roman goddess is also a brand of margarine? It's Flora. And Becky Sharp is the name of a character in which novel, and also the name of a magazine? It's Vanity Fair. And which famous magician is also the name of a Charles Dickens novel? It's David Copperfield. And the last one, in 2002, the BBC did a poll of the greatest Britons of all time, and 2 women appeared in the top 10, and you get a point for any one. Well, they were Princess Diana, and the other one was Queen Elizabeth II. So if you've any one of them, give yourselves a point. And so write down them scores and give me the answers in the usual way. And have a good Easter, and I'll catch us again for the next one.